or Duke to win one. I need some good
I need
fortune,
a
man.
title. It's been too long
I
since
need
I
a
had a title. Well, no, I'm a Braves guy, so I milked that title like a
okay.
mug.
You had to. It's been too
Yeah, I
long,
got one.
bro. Florida State 2013. I'm mad how they don't even acknowledge that team
Right.
as one of the greatest. I don't understand it. They have the biggest point differential
That's
ever
crazy.
for a title team. Um, Duke has been 2015. Should have won it last year. It's another the Zion, RJ
Should have
Beard,
won
Cam
that.
Reddish
Lost in
year.
the Elite Eight.
Should have won that one. Is that Elite Eight too? Like if you lose in the Final Four, it doesn't hurt as much. But you got at least Duke belongs in the Final Four
Every year.
every year, and yeah, man, Baltimore. We talk about them. It's just like one of my teams got to get right, and I'm gonna milk it. I'm gonna milk it.
The most debate. Say you're the one that sent me that tweet with the
I had to because
Ravens
I
postseason
had
ending.
to,
I'm like all of them at the 1 yard line too, or at the goal line. Yeah,
bro. That's been since
that's
2010.
crazy.
2010. Billy Condos, Lee
Forgot
Evans.
about the Billy.
Man,
Did the Snoop over
I
the goal
just
line.
yeah, and they shouldn't even
They
been
shouldn't
in
have won
that.
that game. They was grinding that one.
Like I had no expectations until I had them because they were
Right.
doing
Like just
well.
go there and get blown out.
Like that's what I'm saying because that's what I expect out of all your teams. Who do you most want? Like if you were to put them in
Oh
order, Baltimore is
yeah, that's
one.
a clear. That's a
Baltimore is
clear
one
one.
just because they've been so close.
Especially with
Like
Lamar. Like if we still
yeah,
had a Joe
yeah, yeah,
Flacco
yeah.
type person, then they might be further apart.
It does it really
But
hits
the Lamar
different.
quarterback is different. Like
Like what right like if you were doing a quick ranking, like all
all sport.
sports, you're a soccer guy, you're a baseball guy.
Ravens won by
So
far.
yeah.
I think Arsenal. That's my English football club is too. They haven't won a title I think since 2003. It's been a hot minute, so that would be two. Duke is three. It's time. Like I'm a Duke. Like we
It's
need to win a
time.
national
It's
title
time.
once a decade, and it's been 11 years.
Yeah,
Like
bro. I'm not. I'm being greedy. Like once every
yeah,
half decade, if we're being
like
honest, because it's just too much
too much
talent.
talent. Like this, what's it do? It's time to bring a national title home. So that'd be three. The
Yeah,
Braves probably would be higher ever since they won one recently. I'm still kind of milking it. Like that would be four. And
yeah,
honestly, like them the only teams I root for other teams, but those are the four where I'm like,
yeah.
all right, I'm locked in. But yeah, the Ravens is
Those are
by
your,
far.
bro. It's like one, and it's not even a close
No,
second. Um, Ravens are definitely my one. Obviously, Florida State guy. They're two, but I'm willing to give them some. 2023, there's no doubt in my mind they would have won national
yeah,
championship. That happened. They're rebuilding, so it's not on the top of my mind, top of my list because of that. I know what situation they're in. Duke will be three for me just because that's just the standard, man.
standard, standard.
It's really just the standard. They should have won last year. They got a shot this year. We talked about the RJ Barrett, Zion could have won that year. And it's like those are my three in that order. If either one of any of them win, I'm happy. The Duke one, I would be definitely excited, but kind of less excited than the other
Yeah,
two. But just because
it's
it's Duke,
expected in a lot of ways.
it's literally
Yeah,
expected. Baltimore NFL, literally, you just never know. You truly never know. But yeah, man, I need to see a title out of those three.
and it's so
Like,
hard to win titles in
so,
football. But yeah, I mean, I
yep.
teach this all the time. I tweet it all the time. Roger Goodell is gonna hand Lamar that Lombardi one day, and when
Bro,
he do, I'm gonna cry like a
he's,
baby.
he's not retiring with that one. I'm kind of on it's not like, I can't say superstitious, but it's like, I don't have a Lamar jersey. Do you?
I got the black joint.
I want one. I kind of don't want to get it until they
Yeah,
win one. I
I
don't
was
know.
gonna buy a white one. the year we had talked about it, and then I was like, no,
Yeah.
I was like, no,
Yep.
I'm waiting for the Super Bowl
Yep.
patch, and so I never
Exactly.
went since then.
Exactly. I get the Lamar shirts and all of that. I'm not even a jersey guy, but when they win one, jersey
Yeah,
getting bought.
man, it's gonna happen. Hey, man, while we at it, welcome back to Top 22. Nice little 5 minute intro. Who are your teams?
Yeah.
Who are your teams in order that you can't wait to win a title? Titles are special. I mean, I know sports fans don't feel like that, but if you're not a sports fan, you're probably not listening to this anyway. So you
Yeah.
get it. Yeah, man, I took the red eye twice to the Braves postseason games. I went to that NLCS clincher game 6, and then
Yeah.
I was at game 6
Against
against the
who?
Dodgers. Against the
Okay.
Dodgers, yeah, that night was great. And then I went to game 5 of the World Series. And in hindsight, I'm actually glad we didn't win that night because I don't know, man. I might not be alive. Like, with I don't know if you watched it, but I remember Adam Duvall grand slam that joint. I don't know
Oh
if it
my
was the
God.
third or fourth inning, but it was a bullpen game. Man, everybody in that place was going crazy. It was a dude in there, Stone Cold Steve Austin, like fist and beer.
No.
Man, it would have been crazy.
What was the Soler game when he hit the
That was game 6 in Houston.
what, that was game
Game
6 in Houston. Bro, you know I'm not a baseball guy. I watch postseason baseball because it's just different. Like the announcers and I feel like I feel like I'm there and I feel like I know everything. Like it's just different. And I remember watching that Braves postseason run, and I was so invested. I remember the year before when they had the 3-1 lead, watching it,
Yeah, it
invested.
hurt.
And I'm like, bro, if they wouldn't have won the next year, boy, you would have
I
been.
still be hurt.
But yeah, but yeah, man, that the Soler bomb was just crazy, crazy.
That's one of Joe Buck's best calls across
Yeah,
sports.
and then like Joe Buck, great, just great.
Beast.
Like you can't dislike him. I like Buck and H, man. If you obviously we like Collinsworth. Love Tarico. I'm glad Tarico's getting his flowers
Yeah.
now because I've been thinking that for a while. Like the dude does the Olympics.
That man do everything, bro. And everything
That's
at a top level.
everything. That's what I'm saying. It's not mediocre. Nothing he does is mediocre. I never feel like he's unprepared. Like it's
He calls tennis.
that
He
guy's
calls
great.
basketball. Like I love Joe Buck, but I don't think he
Yo,
could call basketball as great as he is at football and as great as
no,
he was at baseball.
yep,
Like I don't think he
mm-hmm,
could do basketball. Rico
yep,
does. Damn. Nope.
beast,
I mean, damn.
bro.
Oh, we have to do a whole show about ranking our play-by-play announcers too, man. That's the tricky
Yeah,
little thing. A lot of shake up there. Today we talking about NFL coaching changes. We're gonna wrap that up. Talk Falcons Raiders. We're gonna quickly revisit Todd Monken in Cleveland. I think we did a nice little dive into that from Acho's ridiculous
yeah.
comments. But we'll finish that up with the Steelers, Titans, and make a pretty quick prediction about who we think is gonna for new coaches on Black Monday next year.
Mm.
Free agency getting ready to kick off. A lot of talk there. Tyler Linderbaum is asking for more money than any center in the history of football.
Ever.
So we'll dive into that. And the Rams just say them picks again, man. And you know what? I like it.
You don't need them. I like it. You got a 42-year-old quarterback.
You
Come
better
on,
go
man.
get it. You better go get.
That corner was their weakness.
Better go get his fix now. They got an all pro. And college ball, we'll talk about disappointing teams and who's more likely to turn it around. We'll dive back into disappointing teams. We talked about that a lot last week. We're just gonna kick it off, man, with the organization that I think is a very interesting organization. Now we both are more connected to this team than we probably want to be. Having grown up in Atlanta, you still live there. I frequent there very often. My sister, my niece, my mom's brother are there, so I'm there a lot. I go to at least. I end up at 2 Falcons games a year, and I don't pay for either of them. Now one of them is always AMG Lounge. Now, hey, if you in Atlanta and you ain't never had a time at the AMG Lounge, just a little quick side note, all right? First of all, if the game is on, whatever day the game is on, you need to take the next day off, Okay, so just go ahead. If you're gonna take a sick day beforehand, go ahead and start having the sniffles on a Friday. Say, oh, my throat's a little itchy. You got the sniffles because you're not gonna be able to work on Monday. All right. And people are like, oh, that just means you drink too much. Nah, man. Like it don't even matter if you're not a drinker. Like it's just a good time in there. Anyway, side that's a segue. Atlanta's um it's the Atlanta Falcons. Hired Kevin Stefanski as their new head coach, placing Raheem Morris in his capri pants. Um, Kept Jeff Ulbrich on as defensive coordinator, which I think rated. Underrated
Huge.
piece there. Money Heist,
Hmm.
also known as Kirk Cousins, is likely to be a cap casualty. I think they confirmed that actually. It's
Yeah, they did. They
official
did.
more. How you feel about Kevin Stefanski going from Cleveland to Atlanta with a team and a roster that I think is actually pretty talented, sans the most important position in football?
So I think I don't hate it. I guess if you go back to before he was hired in Cleveland, obviously he was highly regarded. Um, they tried to say like, look at the defenses he built in Cleveland, but no, he didn't build those defenses. Like Cleveland is known for, I mean, the AFC North in general, aside from the Bengals, are known for pretty good defenses. And he did have a few, he had two playoff seasons, right?
Yeah, two of them. Yeah.
Two playoff seasons, I think, out of six. Quarterback position has been in flux. He, I don't think he ever wanted Shadur to play, so that kind of was weird. So I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things where it was always something surrounding Cleveland, and they were never terrible. So I do give them credit for that. Their record may have been bad, but you didn't see Cleveland just getting blown out every week. They just didn't have the pieces like these other teams had. So I do give him credit for that. So I don't think he's a bad coach. Sometimes you just need a new change of scenery. But you're going from rookie quarterback to essentially Michael Penix Jr. hasn't played 17 games yet.
No.
You're essentially still on like your first year, and he has no knees.
And didn't have him coming out of college either.
And that's what I'm saying. So I don't understand that, and that's another question. So I mean that's another topic, but I don't know how well if he can stay healthy. Even when he was healthy, he just was super inconsistent. And I feel like they never had an identity. They wanted to run the ball with Bijan. They wanted him to do it all. They started in the shotgun with Kirk Cousins. Then they wanted to be in a pistol all the time, which they should just be play action. He can't be a primary drop back passer, and they win games. But the roster, I love Drake London.
Me too.
Like if he could play 15 games, 14 games with a healthy, competent quarterback, I think he's an All Pro. I love Bijan Robinson. They're going to tag Kyle Pitts. I think they came out with that. So you have the weapons, the offensive line, very good run game. You just got to get the quarterback to get the ball out on time. Jeff Ulbrich, like the Falcons have been searching for pass rushers, John Abraham,
Got it.
and they got it now. But then your best pass rusher does something stupid. But he wasn't the only one that was getting to the quarterback or affecting the quarterback. So I think they're still good in that area. I like their secondary. I like their entire defense, and I like the guy calling plays. So Kevin Stefanski, his job would be not to fix the offense, just make the quarterback has to improve. And I'm betting on him making some type of improvement. If he doesn't go backwards, this is the playoff team.
Yeah.
Because you're in the NFC South. Like Carolina got in, snuck in 8-9. Tampa Bay was, I think, 8-9. New Orleans, they looks like they have their quarterback of the future. But who's on their roster? Like the Falcons, out of those three teams, I think have the most talented roster. So Stefanski, like, I wouldn't disrespect the coaching world and say he doesn't have to do much, but like, come on, bro. Like, get the quarterback, develop the quarterback. the quarterback plays better than he did last year than the postseason
Yeah.
team.
No, I agree. I mean, I think I'm a little higher on Kevin Stefanski as a coach than you are. We've wrapped up this for quite some time. Look, man, though in Cleveland, his overall record I think was 47-36. Um,
Not, I mean, that's not
you
bad.
know,
I'm going off of the inconsistencies,
oh,
but I get
oh,
it. Quarterback inconsistencies. That's not entirely on him because injuries and nasty man
I'm
and
wrong. Flip that.
the shuffle
He's
this year.
45-56, which still in
That's still
Cleveland is
not
not bad.
bad, bro. Exactly.
So, 11 games under 500 in 6 years in Cleveland, 2 playoff
hmm
appearances. He won a playoff game. It was 2020, so a weird year, but like it's still the NFL.
Yeah.
It's hard to win games and it's hard to get into the playoffs. And like, for as bad as they have been traditionally, his worst year there was that 3-14 year in 2024 when Nasty Man just didn't have it and they had no solutions at quarterback. Even last year at 5-12, picked 2 rookie quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel was never an NFL signal caller, never had any business going in the third round. He didn't want to play Shador, which there might be reasons for that we're not
Yeah.
we're not fully aware of. I mean, look, I don't think he's Bill Belichick or Bill Walsh, but I also don't think he's near the bottom quartile of NFL coaches either. To your point, I love the defensive roster actually, with
Yeah.
or without James Pierce. Now, I was of the opinion when Pierce was, I think, before his junior year, I think at Tennessee, before his third year, whatever, he was going to be draft eligible. I saw mocks and actually thought he was worthy of being a number 1 pick. So them trading back into the first round for him was not crazy to me because if you follow college football, you
No.
knew how much potential he had, how great he was at getting to the passer. Some people kind of like, oh, his frame, and like you don't need to be a big guy when you're like a wide guy when you're as tall as sort of fast and talented as him. Now, Jerry's going to be out on whether or not he plays this year. I'm not going to wade into the politics there. All I'm going to say is that, um, what the NFL has consistently shown is that they don't care about domestic violence. And so he'll probably get suspended 6 games max. And then
I was thinking 10, 6 to 10, but he'll
he'll
be
be
back.
back rushing the passer by Thanksgiving, I'm sure. And don't wade into the politics. That's not me, what I feel about it or what his punishment should be. Don't be surprised.
On our
That's
history.
history, right? He's not going to be suspended for more than 6 to 10 games. It is what it is. So he'll be back, and that defense will have some additional explosive sort of aspect there. Xavier Watts was a tremendous pick. They got a great secondary there. I'm not sure if Jesse Bates is
hmm
that. Yeah, Stefanski retaining Jeff Ulbrich was one of the sort of, I think, best offseason moves by any coaching staff.
First thing he
I
did.
mean, smart man, right? So, like, I give him some points on that.
hmm
Also, like, this is an organization with an owner. I think Arthur is about 82 years old. He should have a Super Bowl now. Both of us are in the minority thing. He should have had 2. They should have went back to
hmm
back to 16, 17.
Should have too. Yeah.
I mean, they were the most talented team, top to bottom in football for 2 years. We'll have to do it another show.
He should have gotten there in 12 when the Raiders won.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't
The
think
pit.
Baltimore would have beat
I don't know either.
they would have been.
I don't either.
So, different conversation. But yeah, we talk bad about this organization as if they're mediocre, and like they haven't played a home game in that new stadium. Now that's a little absurd. But the challenge with them is, and this is part of, I'm gonna bring this full circle back to the coach. This is part of sort of, I think, when we don't give this organization enough credit, and we don't give Matt Ryan enough credit, who was Peyton Manning, right? If he had won one of those Super Bowls,
One.
we would unequivocally
Yep.
say he's a Hall of Famer. But they are exactly the same player, and I don't
Yep.
care what anybody says. It's hard when you move on from that caliber of a quarterback.
hmm
And what they found, the place they found themselves in the past 5 or 6 years, is trying to find another guy after they had the guy for so long who walked out the door. You're right. I mean, I think one thing I will say, and I appreciate it, and it shows sort of Blank's leadership, is that Terry Fontenot had to go too, right? And you took a couple sort of swings at finding a quarterback. You missed on Desmond Ritter. I'm not going to say you missed on Michael Penix, but you made a big leap there at 8. And I'm of the opinion, like, look, you think a guy could get a guy, you go out and get him. The challenge with that, again, is I think Penix played.
Yeah, just signed the guy.
Signed a guy to that absurd amount of money, right? And then when you needed to make the pivot to the guy you took 8th overall that first year, you didn't make it. And had you made the pivot in time,
Mhm.
you would have made the playoffs. And so,
Yep.
here's the dichotomy or the challenge here with this organization. It's all going to come back to two things for me. Stefanski hired Tommy Rees as a new offensive coordinator in Atlanta, who you and I sort of vividly remember watching at Notre Dame. Um,
Hmm.
I don't particularly know, and this isn't a shot at him. I don't know how he's climbed the coaching ladder so fast. I think he spent a year or two with Nick Saban, and that seems to accelerate
I,
guys.
I think we know.
Which, hey,
So we know.
um, hey, that'll do that too. Yep, he was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Alabama in 2023. So, hey,
That's wrong.
the last year there with the GOAT. That is going to be the thing because from day one, I went to actually the Falcons Bucks opener this past year, and it just never made sense that they were so committed to this pistol. You got one of the, if not the most dynamic running
I
back
don't understand.
in the entire sport. Why are you lining him up 9 or 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage with a guy who defenses do not have to respect from a mobile standpoint, right? Like
Yep.
you have Bryce Young, Kyler Murray. I mean, you can go down the list of guys who, as a defensive coordinator, you know this. You at least have to account for in a pistol. I don't have to account for Michael Penix at all. Therefore, right, you're pretty much just putting yourself at a disadvantage, putting your explosive back 9 or 10 yards in the backfield, and then letting defenses stack the box because they know they don't have to worry about them. And so, I'm really interested to see sort of what Tommy Rees brings over with this personnel. Kyle Pitts finally looks decent. He's never going to live up to being the fourth overall pick because that's just a high standard for a
Yeah.
tight end. But
Hmm.
I like to hire. Now, I don't think this is like a long-term thing. Clock's ticking. Arthur Blank is like, I didn't missed out on one Super Bowl, really 3 of them, because he knows he probably should have had a shot at it in 2012 and 17 as well. We'll see where it is. But I think that's why they probably ended up making sort of this sort of call. And the last thing I say with Stefanski is Cleveland is a dumpster fire of an organization, right? The Haslams are one of the worst owners, not just in the NFL, but in the entire sport. And so I think sometimes we underestimate sort of the culture and the organizations. The culture that organizations have. It's like any company, where you work at schools or in Fortune 500 companies or wherever, the nonprofit, wherever you work, leadership at the top dwindles down and it affects the workplace and the environment and the way you're able to execute. And the Browns just have a very dysfunctional organization. Stefanski could deal with that for 6 years, still only be 11 games under 500, never really have a quarterback. I'm excited to see what he does with an organization that is top tier, top class. Look, they can get, like you said, I think just they might have an argument for doing something that I think is novel, but you might need to see teams do more often, which is say, hey, like I'm not gonna say load management at quarterback, but load management at
And
quarterback, right? Like, Mike, give us 12 games this year. We go out and we
yeah.
get capable backup. If we got to play 3 games in a row on the road, we'll start, the backup the third game. And this isn't something that has been introduced in the NFL. I guarantee you, whenever they go to that 18-game schedule, you'll see it more, especially once we get 2 bye weeks, because these guys are just not going to be able to hold up over this amount of games. But anyway, interested in seeing what Penix does there, especially with Tommy Rees. I like this team, man. They should be in the playoffs.
It should be. And I mean, I don't think I don't think Pennis goes backwards if he's healthy. And if he's healthy, if he plays all 17, I think they're a postseason
I
team.
think so.
Because if he's playing all 17, that means he isn't playing bad. So I think they're a postseason team with him playing all games. So
I love it. Well, speaking of teams that are bad and don't seem to have a whole lot, whole lot of positivity inside, we take it to the Raiders out in Las Vegas. They got some positivity. What am I talking about? They are going to have the number one pick. And I think they have the positivity because they're going to have probably the most positive guy who's ever entered the NFL.
ever, ever.
And Fernando Mendoza, who is, I don't even want to say presume, he's got to be the number one pick. They would be crazy not to take him number one. And this is the classic example of people are like, oh, I'm not sold on Mendoza. I don't know if he's a franchise quarterback. This is one of those cases like it doesn't matter, right? Like we might look back on this 5 years
Hmm.
and his career might not pan out, and there's not going to be a world where anyone reasonable is like the Raiders should have took him or the Raiders made a mistake.
Yeah.
No, they are a terrible franchise right now who just moved on from a coach who was past his prime. Half the seats in their stadium are filled with teams from the opposing party. I mean, the
Hmm.
opposing team. They don't have a solution at quarterback. They don't. The cupboard is kind of bare outside of Maxx Crosby. You have to take that, right, and put him on every billboard in Las Vegas. So you about to have a Mexican starting quarterback in Las Vegas.
That's wild. I think
You got to do
you got to do that, and it's the good thing about the Raiders. Like, is there's hope, and I know that's we're not in for more victories or whatever, but they have hope. You have the number one pick, ton of cap space. So is you get your quarterback and trial by air. He's your starter. There's no competition. Put him out there. He may suck 70% of the year. Doesn't matter. Throw him out there. Klint Kubiak is going to draw up enough plays. He has Brock Bowers. He has the number one target already. He's going to draw enough, scheme up enough plays where the offense will look pretty
that.
good. Like, um, um, I'm confident in saying the offense will be pretty good. Yeah. Um, Gentry from last year, that O line was
O
terrible.
line is
So
trash.
we're just going to scratch last season, his first season, because the O line was so
Yeah.
terrible. Like I and Clint Kubiak just won a Super Bowl. He saw how that team was constructed. It'll take a while for that defense to become the Raiders defense to become like Seattle. But in the postseason, or especially in the Super Bowl, they turned around, handed the ball off. Sam is just it's not open today. You know what we're gonna do? Hand the ball off, and they can't stop you. So I expect them to um spend a lot of money in the draft, spend a lot of picks in the draft on the O line, and free agency. Whoever is, I wouldn't be. We're going to talk about this later. Linderbaum, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes there because they can just throw the money at him.
Yeah.
So now you have your center, you have your rookie quarterback, you have your running back. Rebuild the trenches, and it's going to come because we talked about Arizona. We thought about Arizona, how they, the way to go to build through the trenches, slow and steady, because everybody else in front of you, they're just better than you. So
Turn that around.
now, it, the same thing. Kansas City better than you. The Chargers, they're just better than you. So now you just wait for their downfall. You keep rising, and Kansas City is never going to like fall off
Not win a
cliffs.
game.
But yeah, at some point the Chris Jones is going to retire or can't be re-signed. Trent McDuffie gets traded. Their star players who have kept them relevant, kept them not just relevant, really good. You know, sometimes they just move on, and now it's a lot harder. I'm interested to see. We're not talking about Kansas City, but the team is interesting because you're going to lose some key guys, and that's what the Raiders need to look forward to. I remember when Kyle Shanahan first went to the 49ers. He signed a 6-year
Yeah.
deal. He and John Lynch both signed 6-year deals. So you're like, you know what? Rookie head coach, John Lynch, rookie GM. We're in this thing together and we're going to be tied together. We're going to give y'all 6 years to do something. Obviously, it didn't take 6 years, but this is the same type of situation. You're in that great division. I don't want to say great. You're in a pretty good division. You're not close to winning it. Just keep
Yeah.
rising. I think we'll see signs where it's like, you know what? I see that Raiders team that they can be good. Then the next year, they're going to draft early again, have another good draft, sign some more free agents. I can see them being good in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, same man. I love the hire. I mean, the Raiders went out and got their guy. They were patient in ways that you don't necessarily always see the Raiders do. I think the easy or the smart thing rather for Mark Davis to do is he's I think stumbled into a pretty solid front office and head coaching staff here, and I don't know how much Tom
Yeah.
Brady has to do with that. He might have a whole lot with that, right? But they waited on Clint, got their guy. Andrew Janico is the new offensive coordinator. Has been quarterback coach in New Orleans and Minnesota, and I think Cleveland as well, right? So it's really shown the ability to sort of work with some of these quarterback reclamation projects. Had Sam Darnold last year and did some wonderful things with him sort of consistently. So I think they're in a good spot there. And then promoting Rob Leonard, defensive coordinator, I think was a smart move as well. They too got rid of the GM, brought in John Spytek as the GM. So they're starting from a clean slate, and I think they've got $88 million
As they
in cap
should.
space, right? Um,
Yep.
Now, one, you need to move on from Maxx Crosby. Uh, he's not gonna like
Good player. No, really
he's a
good
good player.
player. You're not going to be good. Get the picks. Get the picks. Get another quality player. Wish he could come to Baltimore, but it doesn't matter where you ship him. Get you a second, third rounder.
Get the picks, get the
Like,
picks.
get you a second, third, or fourth, and like you can get a lot of picks for Max Crosby right now. Don't be stupid and think y'all are gonna be, good this year. Just get rid
Because you're
of
not.
them.
Like
You're not, and that's extra space.
it's extra space. And the one thing with them, I would be interested in maybe Klint Kubiak will argue for this. The only sort of challenge I could see is that offensive line was so bad that they've got and they're not, I think, going to be in the position to go out. Obviously, they're going to take Mendoza #1, and I think they're picking 36 in the second round. Even if you go out and get Linderbaum, you still got so many holes. I don't know if he might
Yeah.
want an older veteran quarterback to come in and maybe take some of those lumps early in the
Mhm.
year because you don't want to mess up his psyche. And the reason I always think about that is like David Carr always comes to my mind.
David Carr.
I mean,
He was broken from year
that
one.
man was just obliterated. And people like David Carr was a bust. David Carr was not a bust. Uh, I don't know if folks were saying that didn't watch the beating he took behind that offensive line the first few years.
Just think about Joe Burrow now times two.
I mean, it was bad. I remember as a kid thinking like, man, is that man gonna wake up tomorrow? Seeing some of the hits he would take.
And that's when you can
That's
hit
when you can
people.
hit him. Kids, I don't know if you know, even in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
you can still hit dudes. So that would be the thing I would be a little bit concerned about with them and why that might be worthy of an investment. I don't know who that might be. And maybe they keep Gino, right? And they say, all right, Gino, you're going to be the one to start the year to kind of take this beating a little bit.
That's honestly what would do. Unless you can trade him.
Get the picks.
And what do you think Gino is worth? A fifth,
Fourth or
fourth?
fifth.
No more than a
Fourth.
fourth. No more than a fourth. So if you don't trade him, just say, you know what, you're gonna learn behind Gino this year. And hey, Gino was really good in Seattle. That's how you know that offensive line was terrible. Terrible. So I say keep him so you don't worry about Mendoza getting the beating. And learn from him. I think I don't know if I think when he got traded, he signed an extension, a 3-year extension. So this would be year
Yeah,
2, if I'm not mistaken. So I say, that's not a bad idea.
it's not a bad idea. Vegas got they got some things to look forward to here, though. Like I said, smart thing, both from a football franchise standpoint and also just from a business standpoint. The way that he's played this year at Indiana, won a national title. I'm looking forward to it. They're gonna put that big
Yeah.
cheesy smile.
I want them to be
I
good,
do too.
man.
I do too. We want some silver and black back in the postseason. Speaking of teams who don't have hope, which we weren't. We actually going to the opposite end of the spectrum. Vegas has hope. The Cleveland Browns have, I don't think, any hope, and I love it because somebody in this division has to be bad.
I love
Um,
it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, we talked about this.
When they drafted Baker, I was like, dang, it's not an easy win anymore. But they went back to who they were.
And they fumbled that one, right? Like
Yep.
let him slide straight through the door. I love it. Yeah, this team is just as long as the Haslam's own them, they're always going to be bad. They'll have a year or two there, and I get it, right? Todd Monken took this job. It's his first head coaching job in the NFL. He was a head coach at Southern Miss not too long ago, and then sort of had the meteoric rise. OC at Georgia, won a couple national titles. OC in Baltimore, who I thought did a relatively decent job as offensive
I
coordinator.
think,
He
yeah.
he
Hmm.
abandoned the run a little too much and too quickly, but we don't. This isn't a radio
Yep.
podcast. We won't go down that road. Offensive coordinator is Travis Switzer, who I think I'll say this. The one challenge I have with Cleveland and Todd Monken is that I actually think he wanted to retain Tommy Reese, and I think Tommy Reese
Hmm.
just saw greener pastures with a better
Yeah.
organization and a better quarterback situation. Even if Michael Penix needs don't hold up, he's probably like us. Hey, if we can get 11, 12 games out of him, it's better than 16, 17 with the mixed match of Shador Sanders and Dylan
And,
Gabriel.
and he's in the South.
Much better weather.
Yeah, like much better weather. You in the dome for half the season. No, more than half because you play New Orleans once. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know really what to make Cleveland. Mike Ruttenberg is a new defensive coordinator. You know, he's got an extensive background. He says he wants his team to play violently. Now they do have some pieces on the defensive side of the
Mhm.
ball. Denzel Ward, Carson Schwarzenegger is the defensive rookie of the year. Obviously they got the best defensive player in football and Miles Garrett. I just I don't know. I think you could put Nick Saban here, and I mean you could put Bill Walsh here,
It's,
and they would go 5-12 at best. But that's Cleveland Browns.
they still don't, at the end of the day, man, they don't know what they're doing at quarterback. Deshaun Watson should be healthy. You got, Shadur Sanders, still got Dylan Gabriel. Like, don't know why you draft two rookies in the same class. I don't know. It's just dumb.
It is.
It's just dumb. Like the organization is just like, what are we doing,
They have
man?
no
We
direction.
got this generational defensive talent. And I guess at the time you did do the right thing by going to get Deshaun Watson. Because at the time you're like, you know what? I, listen, in their mind, they've been in quarterback purgatory. So it's like, we gotta get a guy. Now,
You got the nasty
I'm
man
thinking
guy
about
though.
it from that angle. Listen, I listen.
They deserve
They
every bit
going
of
by the film,
misery.
bro. They they're going by the film. That's NFL. That's all they care about. We just talk about
James Pierce.
James Pierce. They do not
You're right. They
care,
don't.
and this is not me saying
Yeah.
that. Like history says, they do not care as long as you can
Yeah.
perform on the
Yeah.
turf. That's all they
That's
care about.
facts.
So they will forgive anything, bro. Don't side note. I don't know why this just came to my head. What is it? Dante Stallworth like literally ran over a
Bruh.
man and he lost his
Bruh.
life.
Bruh.
Like,
And no one talks about it.
and no one talks about it. It was a mistake. I know that. Of course,
You can't run over
anyway,
somebody.
but that's what I'm saying. But that's what NFL does not
Yeah,
care
this
about.
league don't care
They don't care about that. They do
about
not
nothing.
care. But so Cleveland, Todd Monken is one of those hires where it's like, you know what? Nobody else wanted to come here. And Todd Monken, nobody wanted to come here. And Todd Monken was like, it's a new coach. I'm probably not going to be retained, so I need to look elsewhere. After his first year in Baltimore, I think this past year was his third, he did so well. He was interviewing for head coaching
Hmm.
spots. He didn't get any the first two cycles. Now, do I think he can be a good head coach? Maybe. It's just not in
Yeah.
Cleveland because you're looking up. You just every team we've talked about seems like are the fourth place team, and it's like a huge gap.
Yeah.
It's a huge gap. So it's like they just it's just the Cleveland Browns, man. I don't think he can do anything with them. They're still gonna be 5 and
Yeah.
12.
Yeah. 5-12 at best, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, look, Monken is 60 years old. There are only 32 of these jobs. You can't wait around forever for these. So I get it, right? Take the ultra generational
Yeah,
wealth,
I get it.
be the bridge, you know, for
Listen,
he can milk this.
people people don't talk like people don't bring this part up. We talk about college football coaches getting paid. Their salaries are reported.
Yeah.
NFL coaches are making at least the amount of your highest paid college football coach. So you're talking about Kirby's probably making 13
Mm-hmm.
million. John Harbaugh probably just got
Yeah, 20.
25
Yeah,
million. See what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I don't care if I'm 70. I'm taking that job. Give me that money because you're gonna pay me for 4 years. And I'm gonna just pass that
yeah.
along.
Heck yes.
So Todd, kudos to
Yeah.
you. He's probably getting paid $18 million. He probably get fired after year two, and he's still
He's still
set.
shit. That's the main thing I'm like with these coaches too. Is like I think some of the downstream, college, these big staffs, those salaries have sort of ballooned. But and even that, you got guys on the SEC staffs making $700,000, $800,000. Um,
Yeah.
but like these guys go a long time without making money, which is what I don't think people
Hmm.
understand. Like,
Hmm.
like he's 60, was a running backs coach in
Yeah.
2000, was offensive coordinator at Oklahoma State. Like, offensive coordinator at Oklahoma State back then was probably maybe what, 400,000, $500,000 a year. We can look at it, right?
Yeah.
How many kids did you have? Like, you're moving all the time. Yeah, they give you your stipends, so on and so
Yeah.
forth. Like it's
Hmm.
like these guys get to this point. Like when you are trying to climb the coach's ladder, you are not making a whole lot of money. You're moving a whole lot.
No.
You in some ways you have to put your kids in private schools, especially if you're coaching at some of these schools in towns where football is big. If you're a college guy, like if I'm a coach, I'm not sending my kids to public schools. Not because I'm against public schools, but because I'm not about to have no other kid telling my kid that your dad
Yeah.
sucks every Monday. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it's real things they gotta deal with. He's like 60 years old. Hey, I'm going to get this bag to pay off
Yeah.
whatever we got to pay off to set my kids and my grandkids up. I ain't mad at him. The thing with Todd Monken, this is what matters to me most for this Cleveland job, is I want to see if he can milk it for 2 3 years instead of one, because there is a world
Yeah.
where they
Yeah.
are so terrible on the field that the Hausums are like, all right,
Hmm.
this isn't gonna work. You don't want to end up like Steve Wilkes or second
Hmm.
iteration of Pete Carroll, right? And so
Hmm.
I think for them it's like 5 or 6 wins gets them another shot,
Yeah.
right? But if they're
Yeah.
2-15,
And they can't look
they can't look
terrible.
terrible.
Like, I'm surprised Aaron Glenn came
Me
back.
too.
Like,
I'm not gonna lie.
they can't. He can't look like Aaron Glenn did in year
Yeah.
one. But I guess up there, they're just like, we just had too much change. We can't. We're sick of changing.
Oh,
Let's give it another year. But yeah,
that's the Jets, man. We'll round out the last two here. First one is Titans and Robert Salah. You know, I like him. Um, I thought he actually would have held out for a better job.
me too, man. And I'm mad. No, not really mad. I'm just kind of irritated that he didn't
Yeah,
because it's the Titans, man. It's the Titans. And I don't know if it's one of those things where he just knew that, all right, this is the job that I know that I feel good about them offering me, not like I feel good about this organization. It was kind of like, all right, this the team I know is going to offer me, so I'm gonna just take it. I want another shot at the head coach. I just, I just have no hope for anybody taking that Jets job. So I don't fault him for how bad they were. Because just could never get the offense right. Defense was good. Could never get the offense right. They had the Aaron Rodgers experiment. It just, it didn't work, unfortunately, for him. But, we don't know what Cam Ward is going to be because that roster was just completely awful. So the good thing is you don't have to draft a quarterback. You don't have to worry about that. You have a guy in the room. I expect a quick change, quick turnaround on defense. But how many guys can you get in free agency to come to
yeah,
Tennessee?
not a lot, Chris.
No state tax. I always talk about those states with no state tax. But this is not about like free agency. Like they have to draft
Yeah,
well. They have to draft well. They gotta run the ball well, and they can be solid. That division is one that's just you never know who's going to win it. You just never know. And Jacksonville can win 8 games next year, and I will not be
nope.
surprised. That's what it is. Texans generational defense. We don't know if CJ Stroud is going to come back and look like a competent quarterback. So we just, yeah, we just don't know. So I, I wish he would have held out for a better job, but I wish him well just because I feel like he's a really good coach, really good defensive coordinator. I don't know if he's a good head coach yet.
Yeah, same. I don't either. I do like Brian Daboll as I like his hires, right? And I think a guy
I
like that
do.
is gonna, I think knows sort of what kind of guys need to be in the building to at least maximize the talent. Brian Daboll as OC, Gus Bradley as defensive coordinator. They got Jeffrey Simmons and Cam
I,
Ward and not much
I
else.
though. Mm-hmm.
But I
Yeah.
love the hires. I'll say this: I would be completely
Mm-hmm.
shocked if that coaching staff didn't come in and get the most out of this roster. Now, getting the
Mm-hmm.
most out of this roster may very well mean 4-13 or 5-12. To be clear, uh, but I think they'll get the most out of the roster. This strikes me as a team that's like gonna play a lot of 17-13,
Those games.
20
Yeah, 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 yeah.
24. Like I'm
Uh-huh.
not gonna want to have to play
That's
them,
gross. Yeah.
especially in December.
Yep.
And that's growth for the Tennessee Titans.
Because at the end of the season, they just looked like everybody was ready. Everybody just Cancun. We're just ready. I don't see that this season with this coaching
Yeah.
staff. You got two former head coaches. No, I'm sorry, three.
Gus Bradley too.
Yeah, the head coach, both coordinators have been head coaches. So like I love the coaching hires because of that. It's a young team. They're going to be a hard team to beat. They're going to get beat often, but they're going to be a hard team to beat. Like you said, I see a lot of close games, but the roster, man, it's going to take a few years. It's going to take a few
Yeah,
years.
that's a tough. That's a tough. You're gonna have to play 4 quarters to beat them for sure.
Yep.
Last one is our least favorite team in the history of all teams. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers, who Mike Tomlin.
Hate them.
Look, Mike Tomlin was the only reason why I'm not gonna say I
Hmm.
rooted for the Steelers. I never rooted for the Steelers, to be clear, but I could stomach them as an organization and success for the last 2 decades.
I'm so glad he's
Oh,
gone because
I
of
get
that
to fully
reason,
hate them now. I couldn't
bruh.
hate them because
Oh my
a black
God.
man I respect was head coach.
Like they will win. He would have his sound bites. Even when they beat the Ravens, he did something crazy to the camera. I wasn't even mad at it. Just because it was him.
I wasn't. I wasn't mad at all. It's Mike Tomlin.
I was not mad. But now I can fully hate him. I love
You
it.
know what? I'm
Fully
gonna
hate him.
revel in them being terrible because they are about to be terrible now. And this doesn't really have a lot to do with Mike McCarthy. I'm in the minority on Mike McCarthy. I think Mike McCarthy is actually a really good. I think he's a really good coach. He's not a Hall of Famer, right? He's not top quartile. But we talk about him a lot as if he's like some average bum. He's won a Super Bowl. I think a
Yeah.
lot of look. I will put it this way, at the risk of not ranting. We don't give him enough credit for Green Bay being put into a lot of close positions to get to a Super Bowl
Yeah.
and to win Super Bowls. And we don't give Aaron Rodgers enough flack for some of the mistakes or decisions that he made in some of those
Yep.
postseason games. We could do an
Hmm.
entire episode about that. Mike McCarthy solid, good run in Dallas. Just it's Dallas, right? You have some issues. I hate to say this. If Mike McCarthy though, sometimes I'm like, if Mike McCarthy was 60 pounds lighter, we would we
I
we would
feel
look
you.
at him totally different. You know what I mean? Like, he's this is a good fit, I think, for Pittsburgh. And I know everybody kind of expected them to hire the young gun, do what they've done before. I think he's the fourth head coach in Steelers history. Now he's not going to be there 30 years because he's almost. I don't know if he is 60 or almost there, but shit, he was head coach in Green Bay for I don't know how long. So he's getting there.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think you recognize you need a little bit of a bridge. Um, you want to keep an adult in the room, which you can say a lot of things about Mike McCarthy, but that team is going to be disciplined and prepared to play. I don't hate it for them, especially because the issue remains they don't have the quarterback, and you can throw that corpse out there known as Aaron Rodgers if you want to.
Hmm.
Um,
I hope they
good
do.
luck with that. I think it's a good bridge hire for them. I'm still gonna hate him, but
And so I think I'm taking the bias and hatred out. If taking that out, I can see, okay, going from Tomlin, like just that organization, from what they've done, like, you know what, we're gonna get an experienced guy who's done it, and we're not gonna like go backwards. We're not gonna go, 6-11. We're just not.
they refuse to do that.
Um, they refuse to do it. So we're not gonna rebuild. Now, if Aaron Rodgers retires and go somewhere else, they don't have a choice. But there's not a quarterback out there, veteran quarterback, that says, all right, plug and I'm gonna take you to the postseason. Because there's a few games, Aaron Rodgers had a few games where it's like, this looks like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he had a few.
Namely against the Ravens.
Well, against
But
four.
exactly. So he had a few like, man, he's that guy still. But he's also gonna have a few injuries, you know, so on and so forth. But the I also think the roster is just going to limit them. And I'm thinking about his time in Green Bay, like we said, Aaron Rodgers had a lot to do with this too. But think about like these big games where they folded. And as a coach, I'm thinking like I'm always in the mindset, if you're not, if you're not coaching it, you're allowing it. In Dallas, it kind of like it was times 10, because you would see Monday night game or Thursday night game, Sunday night game. You're like, all right, Dallas against whoever, and this is a big time game, and it's come out flat. Like, yes, these are grown men making tons of money and they're in control of what they do. But if you're the leader of the team and your team consistently does the same things in these exact same moments, that falls on the guy. So I'm not high on it. You know, I'm not that low just because he's a veteran guy who's done it, but I don't see them going to a Super Bowl. I don't see them winning a playoff game. Like, I don't see them going, 7-10 either. They're going to be in the middle of the pack like they've always been, because you have an old defense and no quarterback. At the end of the day, you have an old
Yeah.
defense. You have a diva wide receiver. TJ Watt is on the downside. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If I'm them, I'm trading them.
Yeah.
I'm just going low. I'm just going younger. Get you a first and a second, whoever's crazy enough to give you that. They brought in Jalen Ramsey, and he was cooked a lot. I like Porter Jr. But it's like the defense is old. The offensive line was not great at all, and you don't have a quarterback. So I just don't see them like. I don't see McCarthy moving the needle because of those things.
Yeah, I mean, they need to bottom out, and as an
They
organization,
just have to.
but as an organization, they refuse to.
But this is the guy who you do that with, because they're not going to be. We talked about being prepared. They're not going to be like. They're going to still be well coached, but you need to bottom out as far as, all right, I need to let these vets who are making too much money
Yeah.
go, and still be able to coach these guys, these younger guys, and be in games. That's what they need to do.
I think that's the challenge with them, though, and like part of it for me is I respect it as an organization, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to bottom out, and I think part of that is like this sort of Steelers mystique, kind of aura.
Hmm.
Look, this century, the worst year that they had, they went 6-10 in 2003, and they won the Super Bowl 2 years later. Now they drafted Ben Roethlisberger, went 15-1 the year after that, lost an AFC title game, I think, to New England, if I remember correctly, and then won the Super Bowl after that. So they just don't This is one of the few franchises that we look at as sort of like classic, legendary, upper echelon, and actually
Mm-hmm.
lives up to that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like Pittsburgh is
Mm-hmm.
there, Baltimore's obviously there, and a few others. I get they don't want to be poor. Like I can't find. I'm looking at the win loss total 6-10 one time this century. They went 6-10 in 1999, and then 5-11 in 1988. Like 500 or better
Crazy.
every year except for once a decade, literally. And they have not been under 500 since 2003. So I get it as an organization. You are a blue collar city with a blue collar fan base who expects you to play a certain way. And that's why they sort of hang on to those older guys on defense who know the scheme, who are well coached,
Mm-hmm.
who read their keys, who don't give up big plays unless it's against Lamar Jackson. Had to throw that in there. And so I get it, but I don't see sort of how they I don't see how they get over the hump of mediocrity without bottoming out and trying to get a quarterback. Now, this is a good segue into our next section, which is sort of NFL free agency. And we've mentioned this and we talked about it a little bit last week, and some things have changed since then. With the Cardinals saying that they are going to cut Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like a good fit um, for Kyler Murray. Like, would you rather have Aaron Rodgers or would you rather have Kyler Murray?
No, no. I get it, especially organizationally. Like from what we've heard, you know, from about Kyler Murray, kind of childish, immature,
Yeah,
not a great leader.
fair.
Put him in an organization where you're known for that. Put him with a veteran coach. I can see where you're going. Like if I'm Kyler Murray, that's where I want to be. I need to be. I don't need to go to a team where it's like, all right,
Miami.
granted he's going to be cut. Yeah, I don't need to go to a Miami and just to be QB1 and put up a lot of stats. No, I need to go to an established organization so I can learn from some veterans and see how it's done the right way, and then see where my career goes.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think he would be good there. McCarthy, by the way, 174 and 112 with 2 ties overall as a head coach, which is absurd. We don't talk about this man enough. That's damn near 61% win
Yeah.
percentage.
Hmm.
He's 25 and 77 in Green Bay, 49 and 35 in Dallas. So he had 3 years of 12 and 5, sandwiched between, I think, 6 win season and 7 win season. But you are right in that estimation. Those 12 and 5 years, that 1 year actually when Green Bay went there and boat raced them as the
Yep.
7th seed,
That was the one.
they should have went to the
They should have went to the Super Bowl. And that game, I watched that documentary. Have you watched that Cowboys documentary on Netflix?
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I watched that, and it reminded me how high the Cowboys were, and Green Bay just came in. Jordan Love did what he wanted to, and it was like they literally did
Yeah,
not
they weren't
show up.
prepared. They weren't prepared. So
No.
I get what you're saying. And so I think to bring that full circle, that would be great for Kyler Murray. Now the thing is, like you said, no one. It's not only that Kyler Murray doesn't seem to be prepared. It also doesn't seem like anybody actually likes Kyler Murray. And so I think that
Yeah.
would have to be. That's not going to fly in Pittsburgh. It's not going to fly in
Mm-mm.
that building. It's not going to fly in that city. And I think sometimes we underestimate this. It's a huge difference going from living in Phoenix to living in Pittsburgh. And so I think as a grown man, right, he would have to really be like, okay, I'm locked in here. I'm devoted 24/7 to being a great teammate, to being a great quarterback, to doing the things I don't want to do to be successful. That's a complete 180 from a culture shock perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, if you
Mm-hmm.
tell me you're bringing in Kyler Murray to play quarterback and Mike McCarthy is your head coach, all right, well then I'm like, yeah, they're slated to go 9-8, 10-7 again if I can get 14, 15 games from Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
The problem with that is he's the only guy I see that's available at quarterback who can come in and move the needle for them in that kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And
I hope they get like two or something.
that would just be terrible. Tua in that cold
I know.
weather
That's why I hope they
playing
do it.
AFC North.
That's why I hope.
Oh man, he would only play 5 games.
I would love. I would
I
love
don't
it,
want to see that man get hurt. I don't want to see that man get another concussion.
man. You're right. I don't want to see that. I just want to see him play bag in Pittsburgh.
Man, that man play. That
That's
man
it.
getting hit by Miles Garrett twice a year in the Jesse Minter defense.
Mm-mm-mm.
Tua better go to the NFC.
Mm.
That's all I'm saying.
For real.
I think we're a little down on Kyler Murray, man. Not you and I, but like
Yeah.
and there's a lot of talk about this team needs a quarterback and that team needs a quarterback, and Arizona seems like they can't wait to kick him out the door, which is fine. I get it. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do. Play Jacoby Brissett 17 games and go 5-12 or 4-13 again. Like I think this is a case of, and maybe it's just because he's such a legend. I don't know this man personally. All right,
It's all allegedly.
but
Yeah. But it seems like he's not
it seems like
likable.
nobody likes this man. Like he's a terrible human being.
And I'm not saying nobody like, I'm not just using that word. I don't hear good things ever about Kyler Murray.
Yeah. I mean, this is like universal hearsay. I mean, y'all can go look it up. If you're listening to this at
Yeah.
this point, you've heard this before too. But who else? If you need a quarterback, you want Kyler Murray, you want Tua,
Or you
you
want
want
Kirk
Kirk
Cousins.
Cousins, you want Daniel Jones
Like,
coming off a torn Achilles,
you want to trade for Geno Smith. So, like, you don't have a lot of options.
Malik Willis.
You don't have a lot of options. Malik Willis, he's probably the top free agent because it's like, it's fresh, it's new. We don't know what he can do for 17
Malik Willis better
games.
send Zach Orr a check. Okay,
Man, for real. Listen, for real, he destroyed the
Malik
boy.
Willis.
I wasn't even watching because I refused to pay for Peacock. I was getting the alerts. Oh, Derrick Henry again. Oh, Derrick Henry again. I'm like, I'm not paying for $7.99 for Peacock
For
for
one
one
game.
game. I'm not doing that. Yeah, I think that was New Year's Eve. No, Christmas Eve. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but yeah, I wasn't
Yeah,
doing
no,
that.
that's fair. That's fair. That was a great night. That was a great night. I got my Lambeau fix.
It
out the
was.
way.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's Kyler Murray and then Malik Willis too, and then really anybody else. And Malik Willis still, to an extent, is a project you're not sure necessarily what you're going to get
Yeah,
from. It's just a terrible year to need a quarterback. I'm so sorry
it
for all
is
this team
in the draft and free agency.
and free agency. Now, question though, because there's a clear set of teams who have sort of quarterbacks who you would not take Kyler Murray over. And those are obvious, right? You got your
Hmm.
elite guys. There's only 4 of them. We say this all the time, and I say this every episode because people have to be reminded that much that there are only 4 elite quarterbacks.
It's only 4.
All right, Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, and Joe. All right, 5. Josh Allen. My bad. 5 elite quarterbacks. All right, everybody else. Dak Prescott is good. Okay,
Yeah,
starting quarterback, upper echelon starting quarterback. He
yeah,
might be a franchise. Prescott a franchise quarterback.
he is.
All right,
He is.
Dak.
But what we know about Dak is there's going to be a game or 2
Or 3.
or 3 where he looks completely like a deer in headlights. But he's going to always be in the top touchdowns, passing, and yardage. Always.
That's
So
Dak Prescott, and he's going.
he's a
He's a
franchise
franchise.
guy.
You got your elite guys. There's only 5 of them. And you
Yeah.
got your franchise guys, and then you got your solid starting.
Then you have your
quarterbacks.
starters.
Um,
Yep.
And I'm looking here through these list of teams, and I'm just like, all right, it ain't a whole lot of teams who I know for a fact would keep their quarterback over Kyler Murray. I mean, you think the Giants would take Kyler Murray right now over Jackson Dart?
I don't think they will just because they spent the high
No,
pick
I'm
on him.
saying, but
That's
if
it.
you,
That's the only
yeah,
reason.
yeah. But if you were walking into the Giants building as head coach, and you
Yeah.
happen to have Kyler Murray and Jackson Dart in your quarterback room,
I mean, you're basically saying you're expecting Jackson Dart to become a Kyler Murray.
That's his ceiling. That is who you
That's
want
his
Jackson
ceiling.
Dart to become for 10 years. Don't get it twisted. Jackson Dart
Literally.
is not going to be
Yeah.
Josh Allen or Lamar or Mahomes, right? Like the best of Kyler Murray, those first however many games from 2021, that is
Mhm.
what you hope Jackson Dart becomes. Like,
Yep.
I think this is to his fault, I'm sure, right? But like we swung the pendulum a little bit too far in the other direction with Kyler Murray. solid starting quarterback. A lot of teams would take that. Like, I mean, obviously Chicago,
Yeah,
Detroit,
for
Green
sure.
Bay. You think Minnesota want Kyler Murray instead of JJ
No,
Watt?
yeah, we can go division by division. Like Minnesota, you know how I feel about
Yeah, yeah.
JJ. I think his own coach doesn't want
Can't
J.
stand JJ Watt.
Bro,
Can't stand.
like why did we draft this guy? I never understood the mock drafts leading up. I don't know. Maybe I don't know football, but nothing in his college career showed me top 10 pick. Whatever.
Nothing. Well, God bless you if you need a quarter. If your team needs a quarterback, mine has Lamar Jackson, so we're good. Speaking of our team, the Ravens, man, they kind of pissing me off. Not necessarily about Linderbaum. I will get to that in a moment. My biggest thing is Charlie Kohler and Isaiah Likely probably walking out the door. And you re-signed Mark Andrews last year. You got three really good tight ends, and you're probably letting the two who are
Yeah,
younger and better walk out the door for the guy
yeah,
who hasn't made a clutch postseason catch probably his whole career. Different conversation. Um, but the Ravens are gonna let Linderbaum walk, and he's gonna get paid. He wants to be the highest paid center in the league, and that's understandable. Now, I'm not of the belief that you can just find offensive linemen to plug and play. All right, that's ridiculous, right? You don't
yeah,
just find any position, let alone I think, the most important sort of position group in football to plug and play. That being said, you know this and you see this. I do think the discourse around Tyler Linderbaum is a little hyperbolic because I've seen that man in pass protection. Uh, great run blocker,
yeah.
great run blocker. But I've seen some things that Lamar has had to do in pass protection that is a result of Tyler Linderbaum. And I think he wants to be paid as an elite run blocker and pass blocker. And he's not an elite pass blocker. And in my
Yeah.
opinion. Uh, but would you break the bank
I
for him?
think I wouldn't because he plays center.
It's the least important position. I mean,
And
not least important.
it's literally, like you said, most important position group, probably least important on that O line. As far as I don't want to take like a lot of the times the center does with along with the quarterback, set protections and slides and things like that. But for the most part, for a younger quarterback, the center does most of it. Lamar is a vet now. He pretty much communicates with the center and they kind of do it together. I'm not paying any center $22 million when I can use that somewhere
What?
else.
That's what he
22?
wants.
He wants $22 million. And I think when Ronnie Stanley restructured, I think he signed 3 for 60. So he's making like 20. He's not even playing up to that 20. But if I can let him walk, if I have 22 million to spend, I'm getting me I'm getting rid of the left guard. I'm not even gonna say his name.
La 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 la
And
la la.
and I'm just gonna get two guys with that money. If I can get two capable starters with the money I was gonna pay Lindenbaum, I'm actually better
Yeah,
because the left guard position was
yeah.
terrible. And it's like I'm just not. Baltimore runs into this issue pretty much every year. Which they draft well, they develop well, and then somebody has to walk because they can't afford the guy they developed. It happened like you can just look at the history. Somebody is going to walk, and you're like, man, they're stupid for not re-signing. No, they can't afford
For
everybody.
everybody.
But when they leave, they're not as great. They're not as great. I'm thinking back to like Matthew Judon, who had one great year with New England, and then I'm looking. You can go down the list, man. It's just especially defensive players. That scheme, like whatever scheme they were in, they just that is it is. I don't want to disrespect the player and say they're not great, but that scheme that they've been in Baltimore, it just they're better in that
Yeah.
scheme. So But yeah, I'm not breaking the bank for Lindenbaum. Like I wanted, like you mentioned, Mark Andrews. I don't mind him coming back because he's a Raven. But to say I'm gonna bring this guy back and then let the others walk, I don't like that. I don't agree with
Yeah,
that. He comes back for 5 mil a year. That's nothing.
yeah,
I'm cool with that because I like him. Locker room things like that. That stuff matters, and I truly believe he doesn't want to be anywhere else. They're not going to trade him. They're not going to release him. He's a Raven. So, but yeah, they're likely. I think I don't think they're going to resign him for the simple fact that he wants to see what his market is, and plus he wants targets, man. He wants
he
more
wants more
targets,
ball. I understand why.
and they won't give him the ball enough. They just won't give him the ball enough. He had some clutch
Big
catches
time,
during his Ravens
big
career.
time.
Like that should have been a game-winning catch that he had in the postseason. But that's rewind all the way back in the regular season, game-winning catch in an end zone that should have been a
That we
touchdown
all knew
against
was a
Pittsburgh.
touchdown.
And and we're not even having this
Right.
conversation. Like, but whatever.
But it's
Everything
okay
happens for a
because then
reason.
Harbaugh's
So
probably still there. So
exactly. So yeah, I don't agree with Lindenbaum getting paid that
yeah,
much.
nah, me neither. I mean, look, and this is why some of these advanced stats can't always be believed blindly because I think Linderbaum had like a pass block win rate of something like 96.7%. Um, and I'm just like, hey man, them stats ain't watching what we watching every single Sunday. And it wasn't like he was getting blown up. But I do think there's an element of like
Yeah.
when you playing right next to a guard who is as terrible as you know who was last year, like some of that is on you.
Mhm.
Whether that's just and I mean a lot of that might be sort of you know, uh, bad play calling, poor scheme, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
I'm not paying the 722 million. Period. Just
Just
not.
not. Somebody
Somebody
is.
isn't good for them. It
He
should
will
be Vegas.
he will be a Las
It
Vegas
should be
Raider.
Vegas, right? Because you got a number one pick coming in there.
They need that because by the time they're good, he's gonna be like on his last year of the contract
Yeah,
anyway.
go ahead and give him 4 years and $104 million, Vegas.
Yep, there you
Should be
go.
great there. The Rams said Efton picks again, like we said at the beginning.
Love it.
I love it. Getting
Love
Trent
it.
McDuffie up out of Kansas City.
I love Trent
Uh,
McDuffie, one of my favorite
Peace.
corners. Just a dog.
Peace.
You know, you know who that is. D'Angelo Barnes. I see that's who I see when I
I
watch
see it.
him. That's who I see.
I see it.
He came in as a slot guy. He was so good to put him on the outside. And I saw a clip earlier today. Somebody was like, this Trent McDuffie trade reminds me of when he was locking down Jamar Chase so well that he got a personal foul on sportsmanlike
Man,
because he was pissed off he couldn't get open.
nothing.
So yeah, I love that
That's
pick because that's their Achilles heel. That was their Achilles heel.
that is a great
Even
pick.
with the game against the Bears,
Mm-hmm.
like the Caleb Williams crazy play, like, and then Sam Darnold just killing them on the outside. Yeah, they needed an elite corner, man.
That's a great, great, great move. And that's one of the reasons why I don't know. We got to take more notes about what Les Snead is doing because sometimes people are like, "Oh, well, why would you trade your pick?" You're not drafting anyone this year as good as Trent McDuffie.
No, no, and he's young enough to where you're going to have him for at least 4. So you're drafting a first round pick.
And they're in win now anyway, right? Like in 2030, they're going to be 3 or
Yeah,
14 regardless, and they know it. And so it doesn't matter,
yeah,
right? Let's go out. Let's go get another Lombardi. And then, Sean McVay is going to be burned out soon, right? Like I think when Stafford leaves, McVay will leave. They'll
yeah.
see the writing on the wall. They'll do the cap casualties. They'll be in cap, hell for a few
That'll be the
years.
New Orleans
Yeah,
Saints.
and then they'll rebuild it. But like for them, there's what do I need a first round pick for? I'm not waiting on guys to develop. I was a couple plays
Mm-mm.
away from the Super Bowl this year. I think they would have beat the brakes off New England more than
Yeah,
Seattle did. Like chips all in. Why not? F them picks. They already got one ring out of it. We don't give them enough
yep.
credit. We don't give
We
the
don't.
organization enough credit.
We don't. We don't. We don't. Don't. We don't give the coach enough credit for the coaches, the head coaches he's
Crazy,
developed,
right? Already. He ain't even.
and all the way from Marist, Georgia, Marist High School.
Hey, is that considered North Side or is that too far away?
Nah,
Oh,
that's
Marist is in
oh
Atlanta. I
no,
think Marist is in
no,
Atlanta.
Mar, yeah, yeah,
Oh, was it?
yeah. Marist is Marist is, I don't know. I don't even know where
Oh,
Marist
yeah,
is,
yeah. They don't really
honestly.
do Archon,
It's somewhere around
Archon
here.
there. I mean, I think they do.
I think, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, shout out Sean McVay. Yeah, it's actually it's in Atlanta. No, it's in it's in Atlanta proper. Fancy that. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, we don't give the Rams enough credit. That's a great move. Great move there. And then George Pickens gets the franchise tag from the Cowboys, who traded for Quentin Williams last year after trading Micah Parsons,
Hmm.
which look, man, I'll put you maybe Jerry and Steven
It was on or something,
know what they're doing.
but it's yes. So you traded Micah and you got the pick that landed Quentin Williams, so that was good. But now it's one of those things where, man, you about to pay $28 million to a receiver, and you're already paying 20 something to CD Lamb. You're paying 47, I think, maybe 50 to Dak Prescott.
Oh yeah,
So man, you're over 100 million on three players on the offensive side of the ball,
yeah,
and when you get in the postseason, it doesn't look the same. So it's like something's got to give, man. You just paid Devontae Williams some money, so you're loading up on the offense, and you finally released Javon Diggs, and he just that was a step in the right direction, but they really don't hit in a draft ever unless they have like a Michael Parsons type pick. It's a high pick. Michael Parsons kind of fell to him, but they don't typically have like these diamond in the rough type players. And you're betting on explosive offense every single
yeah,
year. And if you're going to continue to bet on that, you're not. I don't think you can win solely like that. Now we go back to, like you said, when the Rams won, man, that defense was all over the place. Like they had Aaron Donald. They can rush the passer. You just don't see, even with Seattle this past season, you figured they were going to win the Super Bowl because of their
yeah,
defense. Sam Darnold was good during the postseason and good in the regular season, but we like, man, this defense is flying
yes,
around. So you don't win solely off of, putting all your chips in an explosive offense. You don't. Even with Kansas City, I don't care how they play defensively in the regular season. They flip a switch in the postseason. They're the best coach defense in the postseason typically.
oh yeah.
And that doesn't mean they're the most talented. And yes, Spagnuolo is just a genius. So yeah, like I don't know. I guess you had to tag him, see if he can come back and do it again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, you've got, like you said, they've got so much money tied up in a few players. Look, they put their chips all in for the next 2 years. I mean, they got, I don't know, I think $9 million in cap space this year. I think something absurd next year. But already in
yeah,
2027, it's like 127 million or something like that. You at least have, I mean, you got Quentin Williams. I don't hate it just for the fact that your offense is so good and you can scheme enough.
yeah,
You can squeeze out
yeah,
10, 11 wins. I mean, we've seen them do that. Um, now you
yeah.
have more pieces on
It's
defense.
just a matter of when they get to the postseason. You can't rely heavily on one
Right.
side. That's the problem. They're going to be, they should win 10, 11, 12 games every year, if we're being honest. But those games, those losses in the regular season, they're always going to come. It always looks the same. The offense plays terrible in the first half, and
28 to 7
Dak's,
at halftime.
yep. Dak's stats are inflated because he's in comeback mode, and the score isn't indicative of the actual game. That's how it looks. So yeah, Cowboys
I'm
gonna
just saying, on the
Cowboy.
flip side, this is me playing devil's advocate. Maybe it's not the worst strategy to say, hey, we are stuck where we are right now for a couple
Yeah.
years, right? We got Dak, we got,
Mm-hmm.
we tag Pickens, we got CD, we got a pretty good offensive line. We have some guys on defense who can make a play when we need them to go make a
Mm-hmm.
play. Maybe one of these postseasons we get in and Dak just goes crazy. He gets the Joe Flacco or the Aaron Rodgers hand,
Yeah.
and they get there. Now look, it's the Cowboys. I don't think that'll actually happen. But it's
Nah, I
it's
feel
not the
you.
worst approach. Now look, I don't think that flies against defenses like Seattle and the Rams. I don't even think that would fly against a defense like Atlanta's. But
Yeah.
it's the worst. I guess I'm sitting here trying to make an argument for Jerry and Steven actually making good moves.
And that's what I can't make an argument. Like it's like the leadership is holding them back. The front office is just holding them back, plain
You
and
know
simple.
they do really well. They draft unsexy players really well. Uh,
Yeah.
and then, well, you know, I don't know, man. CD fell to their lap at 17.
Mm-hmm.
Javon.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's a lot of this stuff that just fall into them. It's just like, all
Maybe
right,
we got to give him some
hey,
credit.
fell to us.
You
Bet.
know, Tyler Booker.
Are we talking about just first rounders,
Okay,
or
yeah, we just talked about first round. My bad.
that's what I'm saying? First rounders, it's hard to kind of miss.
No, that
Everybody got the same kind of top 30 board.
they do. One thing this team has, though, I think, which is why I'm like, this is why I didn't understand. I mean, Quentin Williams is a great player. If you have a chance to go get him, cool. But you have so many holes on defense, and your offense is set. You not only have explosive playmakers, but you got a good offensive line. Tyler Booker, Connor Beebe, Tyler Smith.
Yeah,
Like, why do you trade that draft capital for an interior defensive lineman
yep,
instead of giving yourself just
exactly,
more bites at the apple to fill your defensive
exactly.
issues? Like, that's my main. This is a Super Bowl caliber offense, without question. That doesn't need a whole lot to sort of take the next step. They don't have an avenue for getting the additional pieces they need on defense. I think that's the biggest issue. They're going to draft well in the first round.
Yep.
After that,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Cowboys going cowboy though. That documentary was so sanitized too. I
Yeah,
read Boys Will Be
yeah.
Boys, the book by Jeff Pearlman. First of all, the thing in the documentary that was crazy is like they talked about that White House, and they didn't talk enough about what went
Mhm.
on in that White House.
You know they would.
Uh,
You know.
yeah,
You know.
that was the PG version. That was the PG version out there. Hey man, we're gonna be back next week. Didn't really get to that old college football stuff, but it's all good because college football is in deep. This is like deep off-season college football in March.
It's yeah.
Before spring practice, after signing day, everything's pretty locked in. We'll talk a little bit more about disappointing teams there, and teams most likely to turn it around. And then, hey man, by the time we get back, it's gonna almost be draft season, which you and I have a
Can't wait.
unique relationship to. I appreciate the draft. Now, one thing I'm not doing, I'm not sitting and watching NFL. I don't knock people who do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't either. I'll watch the clips. I'll watch the clips.
you know. So
Not doing all
hopefully in the
that.
draft season, we'll actually have a mock draft for y'all, at least a full first round. Look, we're not gonna be them people who sit down and do a 7 round mock draft because most people who do that, they got interns doing it or they're using Chat GPT. We're not doing that. But the first round, got you. All right, we'll have that next week, man. Make sure you like, subscribe, like the channel, subscribe to the show. If you don't,
Yes,
you know
sir.
what you are.
I'm inclined to think you're a hater.
Hey, hater. Y'all be safe out here, man. All 22.